Hi, everyone. It's the last night, and I want to say Budapest a heartfelt thank you. I believe we've witnessed a spectacular World Championships over these 9 days. And while we haven't gotten a world record, somehow a world record eluded us this time. I certainly believe that the event was brimming with top tier competition. We saw some unforeseen performances, a lot of drama, and what we saw on display for these past 9 days truly encapsulates the essence of track and field. You just don't know what will happen at times. I'm deeply grateful to every one of you who have joined tonight, who have watched in the rebroadcast, who've joined in previous nights. And as I said, I've promised every night I said I was coming here after the day's events, and tonight is no exception. And as we bid adieu to the World Championships in Budapest, we're going to delve in a little bit in today's performances, and and in the coming days as well, I'll spend some time thinking about my top 10 performances, and we'll do another live for that, and hopefully you'll join me there again. But I sincerely hope that you found my company good, and I found your company invaluable, and I hope that you will participate in the chat, put your comments there, and like the video, and stick around after these championships are over, because I have a lot of things planned for the channel and for in general. But track and field never ceases to amaze. We got riveting drama today again, and what better way to begin than with the women's 4x4 meter relay? The Netherlands, obviously, courtesy of Femke Bol, secured a gold medal in what some are calling, and I've been thinking about it myself, as a redeeming trait for Femke, for the Netherlands in general. It's more so for Femke because she had made a somewhat of a mistake on the anchor leg of the mixed 4x4. And in a breathtaking final leg, she got gold for her country, but in that process, she shattered the hopes of the Jamaicans, who at some point looked as if the gold medal was right there for them. Unfortunate, but Femke is a superb athlete. She's excellent over 400 hurdles. She's the world indoor champion over the flat 400 meters. And if you don't give her the kind of lead, she can take it back from you. And a lot of credit should go to Carver for an exceptional leg. When you look at the Jamaican lineup, I thought they were strategic with it. Somehow, maybe Genevieve Russell could have extended the lead. That never happened. And in the end, Price did well, excellent as well. But the lead wasn't substantial enough for the kind of athlete Femke Bol is on the last leg. And in true fashion, she broke the hearts of many. But obviously, the Dutch herself, I suspect, redeeming qualities that she would be happy to return a 4x4 medal for them, something that they've never seen, a gold medal, and a spectacular. And the Netherlands, as you know, 320.72, edging the Jamaicans 320.88. And a word to the Britain, to Team GB, they have also done creditably well, picking up a bronze. And there's not much we can say. When you have an athlete of her caliber, I think about the past. You have a likes of an Alison Felix. You could name certain athletes that get on a leg and they can totally destroy a relay. And this was the case, I believe, for the women, and Femke looked good. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I see All in the Game is here right out of the gate. What is he saying here? Came full circle for Femke. Netherlands needs to find another 50-point runner to really help them. It's a good point. In fact, speaking about the development of track and field in the Netherlands, I think they've been doing a fairly good job over these past years. I suspect that countries like that with bigger resources should do better, and I probably need to find somebody and talk to them more about it. But if they do, I think if they can get somebody, rightly as you're pointing out here, that can do 50, potentially sub 50 for sure, then we're talking about high level competition in come next year, because the United States will be back, and they've always been odds-on favorite for all of these relays historically. And I suspect if the Jamaicans are in full fashion, in fine form again rather, then they could be in the mix. The likes of, every now and again the Poles are always in the mix as well. And you have to think that the GB team will also get better, right? And they have some young people on the team, and they always put a big effort into their performances. So you're right. So thanks for doing that. Don't forget to put your comments, everybody, and your thoughts on the day. So that's a marvelous performance by Femke today, in particular. I mean, if you're Jamaican, you're probably disappointed that not to win, but this is how it goes, and it's one of those things. Yeah, rightly so to all in the game. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if it's your first time here. Yeah, it means she doesn't have to run the prelims. Yeah, heavy load for Femke Ball running the mixed relays as well. I suspect that she wouldn't want to do that again next year, but depending on where the 400-meter hurdles is, I suppose if she's way out there by herself, then participating in the mixed relay is okay. If other athletes are in the mix, and I don't suspect that Sydney McLaughlin would run the hurdles next year, so outside of that, then I suppose her schedule is still okay. Your thoughts on that? I'm not quite sure. Yeah. All right. So fantastic performance there. Another thing we should turn our attention to is the next 4x4 meter relay. The United States continues its real supremacy here, its relay supremacy, and celebrating yet again another 400-meter world title. They've won the most. Quincy Hall to Norwood to Robinson, and then they brought on Ry Benjamin, who by the time Ry got the baton, he had nothing to do. And it's made it easy for him in the end. This is how I saw it. I don't know what your thoughts on it. Going into that relay, somehow I thought Jamaica would have a chance, and we can get to them in a second, to be amongst the medalists. There's some things there that maybe we were overthinking it. I didn't see France coming in second. I have to be honest with you. But national record for them, 2 minutes 58.45, fantastic running, and also much credit should really go to Team GB, because I didn't think they would medal this time, especially without the medalist from the flat 400 meters. I thought he wouldn't, they would be too far behind Hudson Smith, but they did manage to medal, and they medaled, I guess, fairly comfortably in the end. Jamaica started off with Rasheen McDonald, and I still haven't seen splits. Has anybody seen splits for the 400 meters? Outside of the United States, I haven't seen any official splits from World Athletics. I don't know what's happening there. I haven't looked at them. I don't know if they've updated that. But Rashawn Clark, when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is going to be a good thing, putting the 400-meter hurdle on the leg. In the end, it didn't work out as well as I thought. Barnes did okay. And Watson, I thought, was just not, maybe he was tired. I don't think he was in the kind of space. And I guess you have to be very good in the 400-meter relay. It's a competitive space. The Indians were fantastic. We have to talk about them in a second. Botswana, unfortunate for them. I think they suffered some injuries earlier, and it's tough, but I thought they would have been in the mix as well. Usually they would have been, but shout out to India, 2:59.92. Not as fast as they did yesterday in the heats, but it's good to see nation states that we don't necessarily associate with the sprints or in 400 in the quarter mile in this context doing well, and India was one such nation. So let me get to some of the comments here. I see a bunch of people coming on. Thank you, everybody. Let me see what I've missed. Congrats to Jamaica 4x4 women relay team silver medal today. No, yeah, definitely congratulations. I think anytime you medal at a major competition, a fair amount of congratulations should be there. I suspect they'll be disappointed not to win the relay, especially that they basically lost it at the end. But I don't think you can also be upset if you recognize how talented Femke Bowl is, and if you don't have a substantial lead, then you're gonna lose, especially if she's within distance, and she was. Yeah, all in the game here, saying France were the surprise. Definitely, yeah. Well done to GB without Hudson Smith. I thought they stepped up big time. Team GB stepped up massive because I just didn't think they would have gotten it. When after yesterday's performance, and I was saying to myself, you're gonna bring in the likes of a Watson for Jamaica, and I thought Bailey would have been in the mix, but then he was hurt. Then you have to think the silver medal or the bronze medal would have been a lock-in, but it didn't happen, and so there's something there I need to think about. What's Payne saying here? They need to fire the Jamaican coach ASAP. Wilson has sabotaged relay team for Jamaica in every event. Interesting. You want to share more about this because what role does I think you're talking about Maurice Wilson? What role does he play in the relay? Because is he the coach of the 4x4 relay? I don't know the answer to this. I know Graham was the coach of the sprint relay. I'm not sure if he took on any responsibility coaching that team. If you have some more insights, it would be good if you could share that. But I know he's in charge of the whole structure, but I think there are specific relay coaches, so I'm not quite sure if he has a hand in picking the. I don't think he has a hand or a direct hand. Maybe he has influence, but not quite sure. But if you want to share some more, feel free to put it up. Shane Botswana didn't have Endori and Tobago. Yeah, that is true. And splits will be hard to get. Sometimes they publish everything. I'm not quite sure what World Athletics was doing this time. I have a big problem with World Athletics this year, and I have to be honest with you. I think World Athletics is operating a subpar operation when it comes to releasing data. And here's why I'm saying this. Because as you might know, at some point in the evening sessions, the site goes down. You can't get access. Obviously, you can get access if you go through the live, and I do that. But some of the stuff they're not focusing on updating the thing. They're like too many people on the site, or they're transforming their resources to focus on something else. And I find that laughable. And I understand World Athletics on any given day, what the kind of traffic they get on one day of a major championship is probably what they would have gotten for the entire year. So maybe it doesn't make sense to have a super, super big server during that the whole of the time. But when you come to a major championships like this, you need to work out something else. You can't have the site going down. Just work out something with whoever, Amazon Web Services, whoever you use. It doesn't make sense. That really ticked me off the whole period. And then not giving full data when they have it is also a problem. All right. Hi, Mina. Jamaican men has no excuse coming fourth place with open forum 400-meter champion in the anchor. Yeah, I take your point here. I think the Jamaican men, they have to be disappointed because they should have been on the medal podium. There's no two ways around it. I agree with you. But also, much credit to France. We should never not give credit to people who did well. And a lot of credit must go to GB as well, as we've been saying earlier, because they too were suffering. They missed a medalist from the flat four, and they still managed to get it done. So there's a lot of questions I would ask, and I'm also in agreement with Payne in the sense that some questions need to be asked, and so on. He's both the coach and the technical director. He gets the last say in which people will run in relay finals. Interesting. Yeah, there's been a lot of back and forth. I've seen it in the media and so on, but I haven't really talked to anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody with that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll get a better sense. I have a few people I can talk to, but I don't. It struck me initially as just nonsense to think through, but now when you do the autopsies, you definitely need to get the details and so on. Thanks everybody for joining me. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Yes, I agree with you. World Athletes website disaster during the World Championship. Sebco shouldn't have been re-elected. Uh, I have a lot of problems with Sebco. I don't know how far you want to go on this. I mean, I'm disappointed with what Seb said when he decided to get into this business, and also how the sport has not moved in any kind of direction to be much more palatable to ordinary people around the world. And track and field in general needs a shake-up where maybe you and I and the true track and field people on this channel here may not like. You know, but it's not. It's a shadow sport. No one knows about it in any kind of way that should really happen, especially given the levels of performances that we see. When you understand the sport and the kind of athletic feat that people are able to do, jumping, running, throwing, you name it, it's not marketable enough, it's not understandable enough. And there's a lot of things that can be done there, and there's places that you have to go to get this kind of expertise and talent from in order to make it much more of something where the athletes can actually make money. And it's sad, but you know how the structure works. And he'll point to records of cleaning up the sport, and he'll talk about less corruption and all sort of stuff, leaving out of the years or whatever. But he hasn't pushed the sport forward enough for me. It's not entertaining enough. It's not reaching the kind of airways and viewers that we need. They're not latching onto any new models of streaming. They're not doing any of that kind of stuff, and it's in a mess. But I digress there. Let me get back to some of the things on track. All in the Game is saying GB women also didn't have an individual finalist in their team and ran well. They've got the quality for a number of years. Yeah, I agree with you. Look, track and field is huge in Great Britain, as you know. I'm not telling anything to anybody. They put a lot of support behind it, lots of money, all different types of stuff. And we'll see. Yeah. Hi, Billy. I don't know if I've seen you before. Thanks for joining. Diamond League has been great this year. In what way? So I think the Diamond League is good. So in terms of quality of competition, I have no problem with it. I think the athletes are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And also track and field is largely, in terms of a spectacle, a European thing. Outside of road racing, it still is a European thing. So all of the big meets are there, right? Sometimes when you look at Prefontaine here in the States, it's not always packed out. I'm hoping to see what will happen on the Diamond League final. So I don't think the quality of the Diamond League is a problem. I just don't understand. Look, the biggest sports market in the world, whether we believe it or not, at present moment is in the United States, right? And it's not even anywhere close to being on TV. No one is really talking about it. They're not forcing it. And that's not only a track and field problem. This is also a women's problem too. Track and field is not the only sport who gets this. Women's basketball get this a lot. Women's volleyball now in college, and I'm in that kind of space where I can see some of these big numbers are happening on television and so on, and people are selling out stadiums, but they're not getting the kind of framing or putting in front of you to largely sell the thing. So I think there's some problems there still in terms of marketing and so on. But if you want to, but in terms of a spectacle, I don't think it's a problem. I just think there's challenges with the market and the timing of these things and how the big networks get it. And I'm really going off topic. Yeah, I get you. He should have gone with, or maybe he's meaning he should have gone at the same time, right? Yeah. And we're responding to here, not me. I know Diak is really corrupt. I think that's what Sepp would be saying, right? they have cleaned up in interesting ways. Yeah. DL are too close to each other and giving the athletes enough time to rest and recover. Yeah, that's also an interesting question. There's a lot of racing that goes on as well, but I also know why they do that because I don't know, but I think it's also because they want to. Everybody wants to get this top performances here and there really fast, and that's probably why. I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, quickly let me get through some more results. Appreciate everybody for dropping in and putting in their comments stuff, and I thank you for being here. Let's go quickly to, I guess, women's 800 meters. I think that's something that we should talk about. And before I do that, let me just respond to Billy. So your point is there's enough money, performances don't. What? I'm not sure I understand. So that no, I think there's not enough money in the sport for sure, but I think to get the money in the sport requires kind of media deals. It requires a fan base that will watch. Track and field is an Olympic sport. The biggest bounce athletes get is around the Olympics. And the Olympics don't even pay any money, which is another question in itself, at least directly to the athletes. So what I'm saying is, like, I don't know where you're from or so, but you need different models to market and push it, and in order for put it in front of fans. I think, and also you have to sell the sport to people who are not knowledgeable about the sport. Like, I don't really know how to explain the hammer throw to a regular person who doesn't follow the sport, and I don't think I'm good at doing that, but I can know what an excellent hammer thrower looks like. Or when Neeraj Chopra, who wins this thing tonight, and he what does 90 meters mean, or 88 or 87 or whatever. We need different kind of jargon and terminologies to win people. I think why 100 meters stand out is just because people get it. We say this person's the fastest person or something like that, right? I think that's where it is. But is the 100 meters the greatest thing in track and field? Probably not. I think it's not. Or is it much better than the 1500 meters? If it is, it's marginal. I think all of these things are important in some interesting ways. And how do we communicate that to regular people? Is that's what I'm saying. Like, if you can do it and people are jazzed up for it, like, how do you sell like a Ryan Krauser, who is arguably, we're watching one of the greatest guy ever, right? But if you are here in the States and you are elsewhere, they're just selling you the sprinters. That's what they're doing, because they know that's the only thing regular people get. So we that's what I'm saying. And more money won't get into the sport until we can figure out a way to market it. And that's a language shift, a change, all of that kind of stuff. All right, 800 meters, fantastic performance here. Miramore, I think All in the Game called this some time ago, and he's right. He's always used to be mentioning. I had her in the mix for sure. Hutchinson second. I'll get to Keely in a minute. I think Mo, we finally saw her. She came to this championship. She ran, and it wasn't good enough. But I want to say, Kenya, you got to stand up, because this is big performance by Mary. 156.03, a personal best for her. You want to run a personal best at the major championships. I think Mo season best. Keely Hutchinson. I really thought Keely would have won this year, even though I know Mora was a threat. But for some reason, Keely, silver medal in Tokyo, silver medal last year, very close to a thing. I didn't think that thing had a chance to win this year. There's something off. We need some explanations. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if she's injured. But you don't come into a major competition like this and not running a lot of races and expect to be at your best, unless you're coming in here in a 154 shape, and I don't think she was. I mean, kudos, she got on the medal podium, but something is off. Also thought Jenna Ricky finishing way in fifth was a surprise for me too. I thought she would have been a little bit closer. Good on Raven Rogers for being in the mix. personal best for Adele Tracy to what happened to Nakai. That's also something I'm not quite sure about. But what was Hutchinson doing? I don't get. I don't understand the attack to the inside. Uh, she started the season well. I thought she learned the lessons from last year and would have won this year. But I'm still baffled by that. And I also think if you're Keely Hutchinson, this was your moment this year because Athing wasn't in any great shape. I mean, she's still in shape to get on the medal podium, but it wasn't one of those 800 meters where you thought that, yeah, it's all over already. It was competitive, and if anything, I thought she would have been coming into this championships with the best shot. Even though Mary was having a good season, I just thought she would have been in doing better. All right, let me see what you guys are saying because I talked a lot there. A bunch of people commenting here. Okay, Wilson decided to put the last experience runner in the last leg of the 400-meter relay final. Bad choice. That's why he should be gone. So interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah. I thought the lineup was a decision that Lennox Graham made, but yeah. Brian, good to see you. I think Moon needs to realize that the 800-meter running that got her where she is and put that modeling thing on the back burner. I posted another thread a few months back that they were gonna see. No, maybe she has other ideas. I don't know. I mean, maybe we are being harsh too. She's young. She won the Olympic title as a kid. She won the world title. She also has different setup. So she's gone to one of the all-time great coaches who tinkers a lot. So I don't know. Maybe I guess we expect a lot, but also I suppose I should also err on the side of they're very much human, and in cases like that, things can happen. And she did get on the podium. But no, I do take your point, Brian. I think you're making a good point there. All in the game. US pundits and fans acting all surprised. I shouldn't be surprised by the reaction. Really big season. A big shout out to Adele for PB in both. Yeah, Adele Tracy had a fantastic championship. Unfortunate not to make it into the 1500-meter final. I guess she and a bunch of other people in her semifinal of the 1500 would have suffered that. The first casualties from the World Athletics changing to automatic positioning as opposed to timing for those longer distance. Yeah, I mean, if people. Yeah, I have a lot of issues with US coverage from time to time. Sometimes I don't even listen to it. I just watch in silence because things tick me off a lot. But yeah, you're still proud of Jamaican athletes nonetheless, but the coach needs to go for sabotaging the team with his poor chance. No, I never think that athletes go to these places and not try to give up their best. There's always things that happen sometimes, things that we don't know about. And the thing that we know a lot about professional athletes is that they definitely don't divulge all the information. From time to time, they hold things to their chest because they just don't want to tell you what's happening if they're injured or what. And speaking about injury, special mention to Shelly-ann Fraser-Pryce, who, as I said yesterday, put country over herself. And hopefully, whatever injuries that she may have sustained running on that leg, she will, get the kind of medical attention. Hopefully it's not career ruining. It doesn't seem so, but I haven't gotten like a doctor's report. I've not seen a doctor's report. Not that I'm getting one personally, but Fraser-Pryce, the greatest we've ever seen, and hopefully she can recover really quickly and get back into background training in time for what I suspect would be her last hurrah on the world stage come next year. Yeah, this is one of the all-time greats. You never want to see them getting hurt. All in the game is saying Mora's Keela's number though has won 5 of her last 6 races. She's stronger. She's both stronger and tactically better this year. I can't really disagree with you on any of those points. I have to agree. I think tactically Mora is really good this year, and she really, she really figured it out. And she had to run a little bit wide, but she had enough strength and speed to get it done. And 156 is not slow. I mean, yeah, I think you have to be in a good 155 or better mark. She was pretty good, pretty good. And so congratulations to her. Hi, Tamar. Track and field on a whole is declining from marketing, attendance, and athlete remuneration. I think the Golden League was much more exciting than the Diamond League format. No, you're going back to a long period now. Yeah, that's the 90s Golden League. I remember that. Used to give away what, $100,000 or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, I think there's a lot of work has to be done in terms of getting butts in seats as well. But I think a lot also is from a viewer standpoint, right? And we need to do something there. I don't know the answers, and I don't think World Athletics do either. They need to take lessons from other people, and I hate to say it, they need to hire people from the English Premier League, the NFL. Those people know marketing. I think Bobby Kersey saw something why he contemplating putting, I think, pulling rather, yeah. Probably. I guess I think it's good enough to come and still medal. So something must be off. Let's hope they come back next year. You always want the top athletes to be at their best. So we'll see. Paris next year, big Olympics, and then another World Championship. So they've been running. Well, we've been getting World Championships. We've been getting major games every year. Where are we here? I think there's so many comments coming in. Yeah, so make sure you can. Let's see. I think Brian said Moira has Keely's number since Diamond League. Brick Press are the athletes Achilles heel. Okay, cool. I get what I know. They also hype up a lot, but wishing a speedy recovery for Shelly-ann. Want her to finish her last Olympic on a good note. Yeah, definitely there. Should the Diamond League build up to an annual World Championship using the Diamond League as some of the qualification system to truly possibly? I think if you start doing that, you get people more serious on the circuit. That's a point I could live by. I'm not quite sure how to fully do it. Then maybe what you do there would be potentially to get rid of the defending champion as an automatic buy. That because how many automatic stuff will you get? Yeah. I also think we need to have some kind of one thing that I would like to see in track and field, since we're all over the place on this too, is that I need to see like a big time competition every year, massive kind of on the circuit event, where even outside of the championship years for sure, where you just get like the top 8 people in a race or something like that, and you market it, you put it in a big venue, something, I don't know, right? That I'm not being articulate there, but something needs to be done there as well in the circuit, right? Maybe that's what the Diamond League final is for, but not quite. It's such a long season to it matter. It doesn't really. I don't know. Yeah. Dean the Dream. Maybe they could attract more eyes by having musical guests between session. I don't know. Probably. That probably tick off a lot of people. There's also a lot of other things going on in the field that it could potentially impact. But unless you mean like doing morning and evening session, but I see what you're saying. Good evening, God bless. I'm doing this. What? I'm doing to say something that all professional athletes abroad. I would have a camp that have the best athletes, best coach, even to train with no lies to improve it. I'm not quite sure I'm understanding what's going on here. Maybe you want what you want. What is this in reference to? Maybe if you can do it again, I'll get a sense. Erwin, I think Moo wanted to cry. I could see it in her eyes. Yeah, I mean, I suppose she would be disappointed that she didn't win the gold medal. What they need, I haven't seen an interview with her yet, or a proper interview, so if they really explain what really happened this season and why the flirting with not running at many 800 meters, I think looked good this year. I just don't know, is she carrying something of significant note? Is it a mental thing? Is it like mental health? If that's the case, obviously that's a major problem and they have to sort that out. I mean, all of these things are the holistic development of the athlete we should think about. I don't know. I mean, more information. She was fantastic over four. What did she run over 400 meters this year? I can't remember. 1500-meter PB. All things look like as if she was going to come and do something fantastic, but we'll see. We'll see what happens next year, what Bobby has in store. Hopefully, it's nothing mental, and she'll be fine. There's distractions as well, as Brian pointed out, and we all know. And I don't know how much of a distraction that is too as well, because there's a lot of time in the day for athletes to sleep and do things. So having a modeling career doesn't necessarily strike me as a problem. It just depends on where it's happening and what kind of impact it may have. But I would have to have the details. Yeah. Jamaica, God bless Jamaica athletes in the men's 200 meters just need to start run a good time or fine. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, they need to work harder. I don't disagree with that. They need more people running sub-20s. You need a bunch of guys. The standard in the 200 meters is so high now that you really need to be in 19.7 or better shape to be even competitive. So, and that might not get you that competitive as well. It depends, right? These athletes are in the game because they love what they do. The money they make is bonus if they can make a living off of it. Yeah, but you don't want that, right? Like, that's what you want. They're professional athletes, right? They should be making a lot of money. But you can't make a lot of money if the sport doesn't bring in that kind of a revenue, right? Yeah, so they have to work hard, and they need the same types of things that athletes in. That's what, look at Devon Allen. Devon Allen is okay being on the reserve roster for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is what he's saying. He doesn't publicly say it, but his money just to play on that practice squad and so on is a couple million, or like 1.5 million or something. It's like guaranteed. And the hurdles are competitive in the United States. He may not make it, right? I saw Devon Allen at Penn Relays this year after 1 year as a football player. He looked okay, but he clearly wasn't in elite status. But, well, elite, he's probably still good stats, but he wasn't good enough to make a U.S. team. So if that's why a number of athletes to go play NFL, even if for a few seasons, because they know the money is right. They have to think about their life after. So athletics as a vocation is nonsense. I'm not saying you're saying that, but I think it's ridiculous. And it's a product that can be marketed. That's what I'm saying. It's like we're sitting on we just struck gold, as if we just struck gold, and we don't know how to tell people about it. And we've had this for years. And so that's part of what I'm saying there. Yeah. Erwin said, I don't know why she left her coach. Well, she left college, I guess. So she turned pro. She can't be in the same mix. And I don't know what the relationship is at Texas. I don't know if he can even continue coaching, or I don't know if there's an extra club at Texas A&M. I can't recall. Yeah, maybe All in the Game knows or so. They'll end up showing even less field events with musical guests. Possibly, yeah. It would turn like a party or so. I don't know. Oh, yeah, I mean, at least do try to get to professional athletes and so on. It's one of those things to do good setup, but you still have to pay these coaches. It's not for free. So if they're not getting contracts, or if a group isn't taking them on initially, then hoping to develop them and then get some form of remuneration, it may not work out, right? It's still sad that you still have athletes working side jobs, right? That doesn't make sense, Yeah. Track and field needs to partner up with YouTube plus Netflix, Amazon to bring more revenue, something like that, right? I mean, hey, if No Lies is that big or so, we need an Apple deal, right? We need something that you could do streaming with or something of the sort, right? NBC, I don't think NBC is paying a lot of money for. I don't know what they renegotiated to get all of these rights. The Olympics cost a lot of money for sure, but you know, they treat track and field as a second class citizen outside, except for when the Olympics comes on. NBC wasn't even showing a bunch of US trials on their main channel, right? Or they were doing stuff on like streaming, and less eyes on US track and field if it's not on regular terrestrial TV over NBC. So there's a problem there. What Billy's saying in her interview, she seems to indicate she doesn't like all the scrutiny. That's I think you're thinking. Okay, yeah, I mean, nobody does. I mean, but she's such a massive athlete that she will get it. Every athlete needs at least one significant loss in their career to help them long term. She didn't run a single 400-meter all year, only 800 in addition to the two 1500 meters. Yeah, right. Yeah, look, if you want to lose, maybe this is the year to lose, and then the Olympics is next year. You don't want to miss up there. So I agree with you. If she can come back and win at the Olympics, then so far the career has been spectacular, right? World champion, Olympic champion, world champion, bronze medalist. Now, if you go back and defend your title, you started to join those are big elite lists right there. So we'll see. What is this? Bahrain should be back from our by next year. See Bahrain wins again. They're trying to get me in trouble right now. I don't want to. Yeah. Jamaica needs more athletes in 200 meters. Yeah, I think so. But athletic training is I don't know. I mean, it's expensive, right? Like athletes have to want to be in that as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think Devon Allen signed a 2-year contract, I think for 1.6 million with the Eagles on February 2023. So you know how it works, right? It's a lot of money just to do. He's not gonna play for the Eagles. If you follow NFL football, I don't think, right? What is this? NFL players practice for a minimum of 11,000 per week or 200K. I think what Devon's dream is to make the team. Yeah, but I think he signed a $1.6 million contract. So he signed something that was pretty good for him, right? Brian Moore and Hutchinson have been running Diamond League all year and giving the public the best of their abilities and deserve medals. Yeah, good sentiment there. Cinema clocking not company at words sounds suspicious for me, as we as well look at Shelly. She's injured, but yet still comes out to compete. I don't know if we can compare the two. I'm not quite sure what's wrong with Sydney. She says there's a minor injury. The statement was carefully done. We'll see. I don't want to get into. I just don't know, right? She's injured. That's what they say. We'll see. She did run fantastically well at the U.S. Championships. Almost broke Samuel Richards-Ross record. So it can't be that she's not in good shape. So clearly, maybe whatever injury she has is prohibitive enough to stop her from being at her best. Or maybe were she to compete with that injury, it would cause further damage, and they have their eyes on the Olympics next year. Yeah, I mean, Shelly's a different kind of an individual, obviously. She always wants to compete. I'm not saying I think Sydney doesn't, but why many would question why Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce is still an athlete today, because what is she proving, right? Like, she's already to go to over 100 meters and everything is just extra, but she has a fire for it, so maybe that's why. Yeah. All in the game. NBC was literally showing replays of yesterday's relays on loop rather than the women's high jump final. Thank you very much. I had to, at one point I was like, what are they doing? And so I had to go on the Peacock stream, and I was watching the high jump, and they had a javelin, and it's just like they were just doing it over and over again, and they're just selling Noah and they're selling Shakari. Not that they don't need to sell them in some kind of way, but no one is selling. Why they're not selling Katie Moon? Why they're not selling Gabby Thomas? Why they're not selling us Ryan Krauser in our face every year? Right? They're just on this too the 100-meter event. It's yeah. So it's problem. Let's see. Very impressed with Femke. Yeah, I agree. Still got Mondo, Krause, Roas, Kipiegan, Moon, Albakaki, who can still win 5 consecutive gold medal. Yeah, this is something. That boy Mondo is something else. Yeah, let's get to some more results really quickly. I mean, because I won't be here all night. What else? Good 3,000-meter. I thought Steeplechase, Yavi, they're winning. Clear out at the setting a world leading time. Nothing. Chepkoech from Kenya in the mix for silver, and so on. And Kenyans finishing second and third. Yeah, it was good to see. I think the heat is interesting in Budapest. Nothing. Yeah. Did we cover 5,000 meters yet? If we haven't, let's do that as well. We had fantastic performance, I suspect, from Jakob Ingebrigtsen. So he reclaimed the moment, if you want to think about it. So he defended his title. Obviously Jakob had narrowly lost the 1500-meter gold to Josh Kerr, second time in a row, what I'm calling the British heist. But he managed to win this 5,000 meters, and I think he had to win it because otherwise there would be a lot of questions. Reports are that Jakob has been ill, so I'm not quite sure how much of a toll it's been taking out of him. But I think Jakob did a good job of strategically placing himself somewhat in the middle of the pack, and then he had to sprint on the end. But the guy I want to talk about is Mohamed Katir, who I thought was excellent. And I think what he did was to put himself in the mix for sure. Shout out obviously to the guy from Guatemala as well. But I think Katir, this deserves to be in the mix. I think he's good. And, he would have been upset to miss out on the place in the 1,500 meters as well. He didn't make the final. And so I think Jakob was calculated, good win. And I guess he did a little bit of a sprint, which a lot of people think Jakob can't do sometimes. I mean, clearly he can, but something wasn't there. Let's see. Yeah, because he should have won the race. Wanted him to. Yeah, I felt like once he took it out and he went there, I felt he would have won, but I guess Ingebrigtsen had enough and he won. And yeah, what is this here? Jakob was claiming timing up a virus. Okay, I'm not unless you're telling me he had a virus. No more British holidays / vacations for Jakob. Probably not. Mina saying Jakob made up the narrative that he has a virus to justify his 1,500-meter loss. Oh, that's what you were saying, Brian. Okay. In sport, you don't always win. Show sportsmanship and congratulate your opponent rather than making up excuses for your loss. Yeah, he has a lot of questions to answer. If he doesn't win the 1,500 meters next year, I don't know what's going on. But there's been a lot of interesting athletes this year that hadn't showed up. A lot of Kenyan guys didn't show up. The Ethiopians at times, I was like, they went missing. I mean, I heard some of them complaining about the heat, especially in the marathon, and others are talking about it's just not what they're used to. And I can get it, but something isn't there. Yeah. Little like that from Jakob, he's always been like that, throws losses. Yeah, I think Jakob was also young. How old is he? 21, 22? So he's not used to it. He has a bunch of brothers. He's probably used to getting his way or maybe not getting his way, but he didn't do what he had to do to win the 1,500 meters, and it's sad to. It's not sad. It's surprising that he allowed what happened to him last year to come back again this time. It's shocking, to say the least, right? But I suppose he shouldn't be concentrating on any world record or trying to get to Elgar Rouge's world record. He should be concentrating on making sure that he can win the 1,500 meters next year. If he doesn't, that will be a problem. So yeah. So that was it. 1,500 meters. Javelin, fantastic performance, I suppose, by by Chopra. Now he has the Olympic title. Now he has the World Championship title. In doing so, he managed to. This is India's first World Championship gold medal, and there's big throw from him. impressive. I think Chopra is one for the. I think he's good. I mean, he could have won last year if he wasn't ill. It's good to see a bunch of Indian guys in the mix. India, what is it? India one, Pakistan two. That if ever there's a geopolitical problem, this is it. But it's good to see Nadim as well. He, 87, 82. Vlachek from the Czech Republic as well in the mix. The javelin is in a good place all the time. Some of the well-known names we didn't see this time didn't make it to the final, but we still got an 88-meter throw, and I think that's a good thing. 87 meters. We often want to see 90 meters, but that's because we're spoiled. But big throw from Chopra, cementing himself and getting into the mix next year. I suspect he will go and defend his title. But I think All in the Game has something here too. 3 Indian men in the top 6. No, that is big time. I think there's a revelation there. They're doing a lot in the track and field for years. I know there have been coaches that gone over there in many years to develop the sport. Look, this is a big sporting nation. I mean, most of the sport that's spent on cricket, they used to be big in field hockey, but cricket is their bread and butter, for lack of a better term. And but huge population, emerging, a lot of money coming in can go into sport. And so if they spend the kind of money in infrastructure and development and on youngsters, India will be a force, and they can be a force in track and field. They have women as well doing the throws. So they're all, the throws game over in India is improving immensely. All right. Did I miss anything else here? Anderson, I don't know what happened to him. He didn't make it through. I don't know if he was suffering from something, to be honest with you. Is he coming back from injury? I can't remember the exact details on Anderson Peters, but yeah. And Walcott from Trinidad and Tobago didn't show up, I think, for the start. So when they did the qualifications, but the javelin throw was exciting. I had it there. What was exciting to watch and what I was watching more intently was the women's high jump. Mandchukich, big time global title. Now she's upgraded to gold. She had silver before, and silver in 2019 and silver last year, right? Was it last year she had silver? And she was fantastic. She only one miss, I think she had at 194. And a bunch of women getting up in the 197s and so on, and 201 she cleared. Patterson, Australia, looking good, defending champion, just didn't have it today. Alice Lagers, our countrywoman, also clearing 199, both of them clearing 199. Good of Morgan Lake to actually do that 197. She was looking a little bit shaky for me early on. So yeah, I think the high jump is in a good space. The Jamaican, I was hoping that you'd have seen something better from Lamar Distant, but she would have needed to do a PB to get anywhere, to get in the medal. So yeah, but the high jump was fascinating. I thought it was good. And then when Yaroslav decided to go to what was it? She raised the bar to 207. I was hoping she would have been able to get over 207. I suspect she may have jumped close to that in training or so. So yeah, it is it is something to look at. I think you're right. All in the game. Yeah, that kid is something. It's a Serbian kid, right? I think she will be a special talent for sure. Yeah. So it's women's high jump. If we put it back up on the screen, pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. I want to see 4 or 5 women going over 2 meters at a major championship. It's a lot to ask, but I think they're capable of doing it. But 201 to win, I think when you win, I think the high jump should always be won at 2 meters and above. So we'll see. Yeah. What is Patrick saying here? Men's pole vault was exciting to watch as well as the women's 15. Oh yeah. We discussed that yesterday. Look, I'm happy that 2 men went over 6 meters. Obino was over 6 meters. But the thing is, I think we need more people getting over that. Likes of a Nielsen, others can get in the mix. It's tough, right? 6 meters has always been a big, big barrier in men's pole vault. And then you have Mondo Duplantis, who is just once in a. I don't know where that kid came from, but and how much. I think one of the things we have to do is to enjoy Mondo. I'm going around the place right now. He wants to go to. I suspect I don't know where the ceiling is in men's pole vault is. If someone thinks they can tell me, is it 625? Can somebody actually go further than that? 630. 630 is crazy. But at some point, Mondo will lose interest in the sport because it's just easy, right? If you're not going to try and catch up to his level, it makes no sense because people are struggling to get over 6 meters, and he's doing that in his sleep, basically. And then once he does that, he's winning, right? And he can just put something to 610 or whatever, he wins. And then the next thing he does is to try and attempt a world record. So we need other people to come in the mix. Maybe we just have to cherish Mondo right now, and hopefully there's a generation of youngsters coming up that will be inspired by Duplantis and see what can happen. Because, yeah, I never thought I would have seen anybody better than Bubka. And I remember watching Bubka winning a lot and dominating. And I never thought anybody would be ever close to Sergei Bubka. But Mondo has surpassed that in terms of his ability. And he's on his way to be collecting so many medals that when it's all said and done, there's nobody that maybe can pass Mondo, right? All in the game. Would be ideal if he had a secondary event like Rojas in the long jump. That is true, because I don't think he can do anything else. He can't sprint. It wouldn't make sense. Yeah, it would. Yeah, and he's a small kid in terms of size. So I don't know. Yeah, it would be good if he could do another event for sure. Yeah, maybe he could run a leg on on a 4x1 for them. But yeah, it's tough. But it was fantastic. What happened in the marathon today? I have to admit to you, I wanted to watch a marathon and I just didn't. I think I saw parts of the ending of the marathon, or at least, but they were replaying the marathon on television, but I didn't get a chance to see it. 208 won it. Kiplagat, 209 seems reasonable to me based on what we've been seeing in terms of the temperature and the humidity there in Budapest. Yeah. So yeah, it was a fantastic championship, and I don't like to say it's one of the best championships yet. It may have been. It's just that because you have that recency bias whenever you do these things, and you're further and further away from other championships. Yeah, my first real recollection of a world championship would have been maybe 91, and was it 91? No, maybe 93. I could understand it better, but yeah, this has been really good. I mean, there's been some top class world championships over the years, and we didn't get any world records, but we get spot for world records, and I think the track was good, regardless of what some people might think. I just think the stadium was built in such a way that there was not any real appreciable help to the athletes to break world records. Next year, we will go back to Paris for the Olympics. It should be fantastic. And then I think we go to Tokyo afterwards. And Tokyo will finally get to see some people, unless we get struck by another pandemic. But they didn't get anybody at the Olympics there. So they'll host the next World Championships, which is immediately after after the Olympics. So we're getting so many back-to-back major championships. So what that means is long seasons for track and field. It also means that some of your favorite athletes who have good financial structure behind them, they may not necessarily show up at the meets that you want them to show up at because they're all thinking about a major championship. But it's exciting. We have a Diamond League this week, I think, on the 31st. I'll be covering that. Hopefully, we can do a live afterwards. And I also want to spend time thinking through this World Championships, and maybe on the weekend we can do another live where we think about the top performances. I'm not sure what's the best thing I saw at these World Championships. Off the top of my head, I mean, Shericka Jackson, 21-41, look really like she's in world record shape. That was an outstanding performance by the Jamaican. Shakara Richardson, fantastic too, championship record there. What Ryan Krauser managed to do, I don't even know what to say about that. You know, that's up there. Faith Kipyegon, 15-5 double, amazing performance. Yeah, Yulimar winning at the end. I mean, that's, you know, there's some things that excite me, right? You know, so, you know, we'll have to unpack a lot of that. I have to spend some time thinking through these things. Let me get back to some of your comments. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new around these parts. Like the video for me. If you haven't liked it, I appreciate it. Brian said, high jump and pole vault are always exciting, especially how the camera follows the pole vault. The championship was very entertaining. No, it was, and I think we got to see some new graphics this year that World Athletics has in terms of these angles and so on. I'm not quite sure the commentators, at least the commentators on this side of the for our coverage in the United States, were particularly adept at utilizing some of that. But those things come with time, I imagine. Patrick is saying, how crazy it would be if we put the US and Jamaica's two best runners from each country to form a team to go against other countries in the four. I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting question. So foot speed is very important in a relay, but it's not the be all end all. I think what you need is good baton exchanges. So we've seen a number of times that teams that are not necessarily good leg speed, they end up winning or medaling at major championships because they can get the stick around in an efficient manner. What often is very difficult for relays in general is just that the time it would take to spend putting together teams that can pass the baton in any reasonable way. And the more competitive your country is when it comes to the sprints, it's the harder for them. It becomes increasingly difficult to practice because what that means, you just don't know who will be in the mix all the time. Countries that can pick a handful of people who may have different means to pick their championship teams, they can isolate a bunch of people because they know they're the ones, they only have them, and they can spend a lot more time on relay practice. You know? And sometimes after practicing all the time, you just go out there and you don't get it done either, because the pressure of the moment can also impact performance. But that's an interesting thing. One of the things I would love to see again in track and field, since we're off the topic, is club track and field competitions. You know, Santa Monica Track Club back in the day or whatever, right? It would be good to see that kind of at meets where all of the people from Lance Borman's team or Bobby Kersey or, you know, John Smith, Glenn Mills or Stephen Francis, you know, you start doing some competitions like that. That would be interesting, you know, for me. And I think it would also be cool for the regular fan too, who doesn't really have a lot of interest in track and field. Rocky Hill. I'm a little shocked that Jamaica didn't win the women's 4x4. Yeah, you know, Claver ran a fantastic leg. I thought I would. What was the split on it? There was a split on it. I can't remember. And I think Russell didn't give you the lead you probably wanted, the Jamaicans wanted, but it could also, she probably could have run really fast, and I just don't see the time either. Look, you have to build up a bigger lead in order to stave off the likes of Femke Bol. She's just that good. So it's unfortunate. You know, you have to, you know, I don't know. Maybe if you had a Sharika Jackson on the team, that would be better. But you can't expect her to run, and she may not be in the kind of shape. I suspect she could give you a fantastic 400-meter leg. That would really put things in the mix. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I suspect the women would be disappointed. I think because they were that close to winning. But that's the beauty of track and field, and it's just like they zoomed. Femke zoomed in and took the goal. She snatched it at the end. She pickpocketed them or something of the sort. But that's it, guys. I really want to thank you for joining me tonight. I'm gonna head off the live tonight. It's been such a pleasure and having you, Doreen. If you're watching or watching on the rebroadcast, can you just send us a message? Just comment on any video because we haven't gotten in contact with you to give you your price from yesterday. So just if you're watching or watching on a rebroadcast, comment on any video and we can set it up. Thanks everybody for joining me tonight. I really appreciate you. It was good to cover the championships every night, and hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you like this space. And I'm gonna have a lot of other sports too, so hopefully you don't disappear on me when I start putting out that other stuff too. But I'll be back again this week to talk Diamond League and to also potentially talk a recap of top performances, and I'm hoping to have some other people too. So it's good seeing you. Have a good rest of your Sunday or Monday or wherever you are. And if you're watching on the rebroadcast, put your comments in and I'll get to them. Bye-bye.